So we're here with Issam Kazim, who's CEO of Dubai Tourism, and here at the top CEO conference in Jeddah. So Issam, it's lovely that you joined us today.
Love to be here.
It's a great time for Dubai Tourism in one way, because you have just announced that you saw a 12% rise in tourism in the first 2 months of this year to Dubai. So talk to us about that, what it means and what do you attribute that to?
Sure. I think to get that better picture or better understanding of that, it'll be important to highlight the fact that when we set out the strategy for ourselves, it was to double the numbers that we had received in 2012, and that was 10 million visitors. And the plan and the strategy was clearly defined to reach 20 million by 2020. And with that in mind, we needed to obviously focus on a wider target audience and key source markets for ourselves, because the 10 million was achieved by leveraging 6 or 7 key source markets that we were quite strong in at that point in time. But over the years, we've developed, based on the strategy, a plan to hit 20 to 22 markets at any given time. But in some cases, there's some campaigns that go up to 40 and 43 countries as well. Right. So with that, of course, there are the challenges of understanding exactly how you're going to communicate to them, how do they consume information, how do they even purchase the trip to Dubai as well. So understanding all of those, making sure that all of those messages are aligned, and making sure that we're in front of them at the right time with the right messages, and creating the right offers and packages to attract more and more people. And going back to the numbers that you mentioned, obviously it's built on the campaigns that we've run over the years. The markets that we've seen tremendous growth in, Saudi continues to grow. India has seen tremendous growth as well. China over the years continued to grow, where they've reached the number 4 spot now as well. And with that in mind, we've also changed some of the visa regulations in some countries, which also helped us achieve the numbers, which are the 12% growth that we've seen the first 2 months of this year.
Very interesting. I mean, the majority or much of that growth was down to the China market, I understand. Why do you think China in particular, and does that make it any less sustainable in terms of the growth, given much of it was from that one market?
I think in terms of the growth aspect of it, yes, it was China. But if you look at the numbers, we've always had a quite diversified model, and that's by nature of how we've planned things for ourselves, because we know that we don't want to be at any given time overly reliant on one market. And to give you a fair example of that, if you look at what happened with the Russian market, I would say maybe 2 years ago, slightly more than 2 years ago, there was a decline due to the Russian ruble devaluing against the US dollar, to which we are pegged. And so that obviously we anticipated that there will be a reduction in numbers and visitors coming to Dubai. So quickly we activated other markets that more than compensated that drop. So we have, I would say, maybe the top four markets based on 2016 numbers now that had crossed the 1 million mark. So you had India, Saudi, you had Oman, you had the UK, all of them crossing the 1 million mark, but very close in their numbers. Then when you look at 5 and all the way to about 20, the numbers are very, very close. So it's very easy for us to see growth that can more than compensate any potential drop that we can anticipate from any other market.
Okay, very interesting. Obviously, we're talking here in King Abdullah Economic City near Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and in terms of the Saudi market, we're about a 3-hour hop to Dubai. What kind of numbers are you seeing from Saudi Arabia, and how important a market is it for Dubai tourism?
Of course, Saudi will remain to be one of the most important markets for us. The proximity is one thing, the cultural aspect of things as well, and the offers that Dubai has and how it's aligned as a family destination to the Saudi traveler and also to the resident population of Saudi as well. And I think with everything that we're doing in our campaigns and our marketing and even our events and festivals, a lot of them is catered to that family audience, which appeals directly to the target audience that we have in Saudi.
Can you give us any numbers on that, though?
Yes, of course.
In terms of the rise?
In terms of the actual numbers, we had over 1.5 million visitors from Saudi, which has seen about approximately 9% growth year on year. And this is again built on the back of another high single-digit growth that we had seen the year before that as well.
And where do you see that going forward? I mean, it can't keep on growing forever, can it?
Well, to be honest with you, with the offerings that we have and the expansion of the offerings that we have, and also the product mix that we've actually focused on lately as well, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't continue to grow. And the reason being, if you look at the kind of hotels that we have on offer, we continue to get investment towards the 5-star hotel segment, but we have a lot more 3 and 4-star hotels coming online. We have now announced the beginning of this year that we have over 102,000 hotel rooms, and in the pipeline that we know will be delivered by the end of 2018, we'll have close to 130,000 hotel rooms. Again, all in different destinations within the city itself, different locations, attracting different kind of travelers. If you look at Rove itself, with now the millennial travelers as well, that is an attractive property at a very great budget, and also with proximity to all the key locations that people will be interested in. So I'm very confident that we should continue to see growth as well.
One of the big new attractions in Dubai is Dubai Parks and Resorts. However, you know, a recent report by EFG Hermes said that they're facing challenges in meeting their visitor numbers. You know, sort of, is that how do you view that? And do you see that as, you know, a challenge for your own operation, your own target of meeting that 20 million number by 2020? Is this going to be an issue for Dubai tourism?
I don't see that being an issue at all. In fact, I think the opportunities with that are great, because so far I think the growth that we have seen have been not as reliant on the theme park aspect, and the theme park aspect is just giving us a great new platform to be able to communicate a different, a diverse message as well. When you look at the strategy that we set out for ourselves, we talked about 20 million visitors, but we also talked about making sure that people stay longer in Dubai, have a lot of opportunities to spend more in Dubai, and also to repeat visitation as well. And from experiences of people that we've actually interacted with who had visited the theme parks, will tell you that you need at least 3 days per park. So that shows you that length of stay aspect of it comes into play. But I think with any new product that comes online, and especially being not so centrally located, it takes time for people to get used to getting in and out of the parks and accessing the park. But once that happens, I think it's just the potential of that is just great.
The existing 3 parks are not the only ones in that wider development. Do you still see the others, you know, sort of being developed on at the same pace, if at all, given the challenges that the existing theme park operation faces?
In fact, I think from our side, if you look at the Aquaventure Park, you look at Wild Wadi, things that have been in existence for quite some time, and then a bigger offering of the hotel offering itself within central parts of the city, they've continued to be successful, of course, and they've been always changing and making it a bit more exciting every time someone comes. But at the same time, besides DPR and the different properties that they have within their own parks, which you have the Bollywood Park, you have the Motion Gate, the Lions Gate, you have Legoland, all of that. You also have IMG, Worlds of Adventure, which also is open with its dinosaur offering, with its Marvel characters, Cartoon Network, and all the other IPs that they have. Both of them have actually worked more or less at the same time, and both of them are starting to see steady growth over time. And I do believe that they will be successful. It's just a matter of time before people get to know it more and more and more and become regular visitors to the parks.
One issue that a lot of people cite about Dubai is the cost. You know, there was you know, one of my journalistic peers, Richard Quest, I think, tweeted only a few months ago about the extortionate cost of a meal in a hotel in Dubai. You know, is it getting out of hand? Does something need to happen to lower some of the charges of what it costs for a burger or a glass of drink?
I think it's safe to say that in Dubai, what we're very proud of is the diversity of offering that Dubai has. Dubai has always had a niche audience that's very interested in the 7-star experience, and there still is a market for that, and there's still a demand for that. So we cannot neglect that. But at the same time, what we've done is we've encouraged investment by creating incentive policies which would waive the municipality fees, the 10% municipality fees for 5 years on anyone who invests in a 3 and 4-star hotel. Because we know that when we're going to a much bigger target audience, audience, different segments, different nationalities, different backgrounds. They have different spending habits. So we need to make sure that we're catering to that. And at the same time, we've created things like the Food Festival, which is encouraging homegrown products to also start coming up as well. And you'll see that the entry points for them, for a meal over there, good quality, high-end meal, would be much cheaper than paying for a 5-star hotel.
Right.
We need to make sure that we keep all of them in mind.
So 20 million by 2020, still on track?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, Issam, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for your time.
Thank you.